Hi guys, welcome to my month end reading wrap up. This is the wrap up for the month of February. I managed to read 8 books this month. Let's see what they are. The first book that I read is Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. This book is amazing. I loved it. It has amazing characterization, settings are brilliant, and anyone who's read Backman's any of the books might already know he is simply incapable of writing anything that is less than 5 stars. So this book is a straight 5 out of 5 star for me. This book will make you cry, it'll make you laugh, make you sad, it'll make you happy, and it's going to break your heart. But it is also going to put it back together. This book is simply mind-blowing. It does cover a couple of topics that might trigger you, including suicide, poverty, money troubles, dysfunctional families, but trust me, if you can get through that, this book is totally worth reading. This book can nothing be less than 5 stars. The next book that I read is also by author Fredrik Backman, Us Against You. This book is the second part of the Beartown series, and this book was every bit as good as the first one. Now, this is a very rare thing with series, and I can tell you with 100% guarantee that if you liked Beartown, you are gonna love this one too. If you haven't read any of Backman's books, then start with Beartown. That is where I started, and I am already in love with his writing, and I'm already on my way to reading all his books. So this is the second book that I read by Fredrik Backman this month itself. This is also a straight 5 out of 5 stars. I can give this book infinite stars because this book deserves them all. This book completely broke me. It made me cry more than a couple of times. It made me think about life overall more than a dozen times. For me, this book was every bit as good as Beartown, the first book in the series, and I will be reading the next book, but I do feel that I need a break from this series for a bit. So I'm maybe gonna wait till mid-March and then start reading the next book. I think it's the last book in the series. If you're going to dive into the Beartown series, then I would like to clarify one thing. This is not a light-hearted series. It's pretty serious. Yes, it has humor, and yes, it covers a lot of fun topics, but it is quite emotional. It is a roller coaster of emotions, actually. And if you get triggered easily, then you might do well to first read a couple of reviews, learn what the book is about, and then dive into them. The next book that I read is Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. I've heard a lot of readers comment that if you like Moriarty's book, then Sally Hepworth's book will be perfect for you. But I'll tell you what, I like Sally Hepworth's writing way better than Leah Moriarty's writing, that you simply cannot help love them all, even the antagonist. So for me, Darling Girls was 4.5 out of 5 stars. I love giving 0.5 star ratings because I feel that some books are just not 4, but not even 5. So this book is somewhere in between. That's why 4.5 stars. It is about 3 sisters. This book again is a bit triggering because it talks about foster care, dysfunctional childhood, and abuse to some extent. So we won't. The next book that I read is The Maid's Diary by Loreth Ann White. Now, this book is a hard psychological thriller. It is perfect for the fans of dark psychological thrillers who love twists and who love to be surprised at each and every single turn. So this book is about a maid who has the habit of snooping. I really don't think how this book could have ever gone wrong. That's why I started listening to this, and I was not disappointed. This book has such amazing twists and turns that it kept me guessing the entire time. This book is literally quite addictive, and it was completely unputdownable. And let me warn you, if you're going to pick up this book, you will only stop once you're done with it because the twists are that good. So if you want to read one psychological thriller this year, then make it this one. The next one is What Lies Between Us by John Marrs. This book is a solid 4-star read for me. I love the concept. I love the execution of the concept, but I did have some basic issues with the book. But overall, it was an engaging thriller read. More than thriller, it is dark thriller, and it can be a bit triggering because it covers a lot of disturbing themes. So make sure to read a couple of reviews before you check this one out if you get triggered easily. But otherwise, the book is pretty good. The suspense is brilliant. The premise is excellent. Characterization is good. Except for a couple of pacing issues, minor pacing issues, the book overall is a pretty strong thriller read. It is about a daughter who keeps her mother locked in the attic. So it's quite interesting. Do check it out. The next book that I read is The Girl in the Basement by Ray Garden. This book was an okayish read. It's a short story, and because of that, I'm not cutting back on an extra star because it wasn't that long, so it was bearable. The concept was actually quite good, but the execution was not that great. I felt that the writing as well felt a bit short. It could have been a really great read if the author would have executed the concept a little bit better. Still, overall, if you want to read horror thriller, then this book is quite good given its length, which is about 3 to 3.5 hours, which makes it basically a novella. So, if you want a quick horror fix, this book is good. I would suggest that you listen to the audiobook because at least the audiobook is narrated well. The next book is Dopamine Detox by Theobald Muries. The book's concept was good, but the execution was quite frankly horrible. I felt that it was a really mediocre read and that I wasted my time listening to this audiobook. I listened to it on double the speed. Still, I feel it was a waste of time, so I will not recommend this book to anyone. For me, it was a 2-star read only because I do not give 1 star unless I've DNF'd a book, and I did complete this book. It is a solid 2-star for me. The last book that I read in February was And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer by Fredrik Backman. Yes, this is my third book this month by Fredrik Backman, and let me tell you guys, this book is not for the faint-hearted because this book gave me some serious existential crisis. This is an exceptionally heavy read. I listened to the introduction of this book and I knew that it was not going to be an easy read. Still, I went ahead knowing that it wasn't going to be an easy read, and it still affected me a lot. It was a bit depressing because it's basically the author's exploration of how a writer deals with losing their memory, and it wasn't pretty. So for me, I'm not going to read this book because obviously it was just so amazing that it depressed me, but I wouldn't rate it as a 4 or a 5-star read because I still do not feel good about this book. I definitely would not recommend it to anyone unless you're going through a medical problem in which you're losing your memory. So I will not recommend it to anyone. But still, the writing is exceptional. The emotions delivered by the author are pretty amazing, and this book really hits home. So that's all for this month. I read 8 books. Some of them were 5 stars, some of them were 2 stars, but most of them were 4-star reads. So I'm overall really happy with the books that I read this month. And I'd like to thank you for watching this video till the end, and stay tuned for my next month's wrap up.